Moving on to a public hearing. Item number 4, this is a public hearing to consider a general plan amendment, specific plan amendment, rezone, and use permit to facilitate the installation of 2 this is through automated teller machines or ATMs at Sierra Central Credit Union. I hope it's drive past, not through.
Yeah. Yeah. Mayor Buckland, members of the council, Arnoldo Rodriguez Development Services Department. The item before you includes multiple land use entitlements, including a plan amendment to the city's general plan, a plan amendment to the Harder specific plan, a rezone application, and a use permit, and then also a rezone application. So the purpose of these applications is Sierra Credit Union would like to install 2 drive-through ATMs or drive-up ATMs located on the southern boundary of their property line, which I'll show on the next slide. And the reason that they are required to go through this process is their existing zoning, which is CM, which is an industrial zone district. A light industrial zone district does not permit drive-through facilities. So in order to facilitate the installation of the drive-throughs, they do have to amend both the general plan, the Harder specific plan. They have to rezone the property from a light industrial zone district to an office zone district or commercial. In discussions with the bank, they elected to rezone the property to a commercial, to an office zone district, which really reflects kind of what the property is being used for. It's largely an office with a bank. And then also the use permit, because all drive-throughs in our community require a use permit. This project is somewhat of an anomaly in that it's pretty rare for a piece of property to be downzoned from a more intense land use to a less intense land use. It's typically the opposite direction. It's most property owners usually want to permit a use that collectively I think we would consider a little bit more intense in terms of traffic noise or something along those lines. So the site itself, it's approximately 8 acres. The drive-through itself would be located on the southern boundary there, which I've highlighted in red. Back when this project was initially approved, the credit union had not contemplated a drive-through. However, I'm confident if they had, they would have probably gone through this a while back. There's also, so the bank site itself is a little bit larger than their existing building. There's their existing building. The drive-throughs, again, would be on the southern property line. Back when this project was initially considered, it was a total of 3 buildings. The location of the drive-through would not impact either of the other 2 buildings. It would simply potentially impact some of their parking. We've had discussions, and at the time that they're ready to proceed with the other buildings, we would come back and we would take a look at the overall circulation to make sure that it still worked. So this, again, is an overall area in terms of where the drive-throughs are going to be. That's just zoomed in. It's fairly straightforward. 2 drive-through ATMs, both going in the same direction, going from westbound to eastbound. In terms of the architectural design, it's going to be comparable to what's out there right now in terms of the canopy colors, in terms of the materials, including the rock veneer around the columns. So with that being said, staff is recommending that the council adopt the general plan amendment, or first, the environmental assessment, I apologize, the general plan amendment as proposed, the amendment to the Harder specific plan as proposed, and the use permit, and that at the same time we're introducing for the first reading the rezone application, and we're requesting that the council waive the first reading of the rezone application. Staff is intending on bringing the rezone back to the city council for its consideration at its May 3rd meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Rodriguez before I open this to the public?
To the mayor. Arnold, just a point of clarification. It's actually a drive up, not a drive through. Because when we're thinking of drive through, we're thinking of Starbucks, McDonald's, where a live person's actually giving you the cash. So this is just driving up to the ATM machine and then taking off. So does it?
Correct. There would be no interaction. So with an actual teller,
right? It's
simply a drive up.
Yeah, drive
Correct.
up to the teller
Correct.
machine.
Correct.
Perfect.
Any other questions before I open to the public? This is a public hearing. I'll open it to the public. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter certainly can proceed up to the microphone. I'll close the public hearing with no mad rush to the microphone and bring it back to council for action.
To the mayor, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve staff's recommendation.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. And we'll move on to